Hello there guys and welcome back to my channel for simply a new video really because there's no football games going on, at least no Chelsea games going on. So what we are going to do here today is just talk about the latest news surrounding Chelsea Football Club because there is obviously quite a bit going on. There is obviously the whole situation with Maurizio Sarri and him very likely now to be joining Juventus Turin. Obviously, just moving clubs from Chelsea to Juventus. Frank Lampard possibly coming in to replace him. Eden Hazard certainly looking to be on his way out, looking to be on his way to Real Madrid. And yeah, that's what we're going to talk about today. But there is a lot more. There's a lot more things to talk about today than just that. We have to talk about Morata, about the interview that was released, with him, about Hudson-Odoi, about Willian, about Petr Cech as well. There's a lot to talk about today. But before getting into that, please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you are new here, that would be massively appreciated. Let's keep it growing. I know it's been quite a while since my last video. Well, over a week now because the last video was the Europa League final review. But yeah, so if you are new, please do subscribe, drop a like on this video, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. And one other thing before getting into the video, because that is quite big news, for me personally anyway, I have now joined a podcast. Basically, I now do host and own a podcast, and that is called the Attacking 2 podcast. You might know it, you might not. Well, if you don't, the link to it is down in the description. Follow it on YouTube, subscribe to it. The channel isn't very big at all on YouTube. Please, head to the description. I think I might be able to put a link up there as well. So please head over there and subscribe to that. We just uploaded the first episode with me as a host yesterday. Basically, it was two friends of mine that hosted it. One of them had to leave because he got a job that didn't allow him to do it anymore time-wise. So I was asked to take over. And I've always loved podcasts. I've always loved to be on podcasts as a guest. And now I have my own podcast, and that was great. And like I say, yesterday we uploaded our first episode with our special guest being Carefree Louis G. Louis Gebrselassie, Louis from 100% Chelsea. You all know him. A great friend of mine, and it was great to have him on. We had a great chat, and we spoke about all of the whole Sarri to Juventus situation. Who's to blame? Can we blame Sarri for anything? Should we try and should we force to keep him? Can I speak? Should we force him to stay anyway? Even though he wants to leave, Frank Lampard coming in, Hazard on his way out. The situation with the transfer ban, are we getting it frozen? Are we not? Are we even trying? All of these things basically. And we spoke about all of that. So like I say, if you want to hear my in-depth thoughts about all of that, basically just head over to that podcast. Please watch it. Also, watch it on iTunes, listen to it on iTunes and Spotify and all of that crap. But I know I've been rambling on about this for way too long now. I do apologize. Just head over and subscribe. That'd be very much appreciated. One other thing that has basically come out, a couple other things, I guess, since we spoke about that. So basically you should go listen to that. But even if you don't, you know the situation, you know my opinions on that anyway. So obviously yesterday there were reports that the whole situation with Sarri to Juventus and Hazard to Madrid have stalled because Chelsea and Marino Granovskaya were simply just saying, nah, mate, it's a no from me, really. Apparently we won't be giving Sarri to Juventus for free. We do want them to pay the £5.3 million compensation or buyout clause, not buyout clause, but basically buy him out of his contract rather than just us releasing him. And also that Real Madrid did meet with us, and they just, the contract, the talks just, failed. They just broke down because Chelsea weren't having any of it, and Madrid weren't paying what we're asking, and we're not budging, and rightly so. But to me, that isn't stalling, as in, there is maybe hope that they are staying. It's just, it's just the normal things that happen, really. If you wanna call it that, it's just more holding up the inevitable rather than an actual bit of hope that they will stay. Especially for Maurizio Sarri, I think there's a tiny bit more hope for Hazard if Madrid just don't pay what we want. But for Sarri, I just don't see him staying at this point now. I mean, I would love it because I don't see many other options out there, but I just don't see it happening. Another thing that we did touch on yesterday, like I said, in obviously that podcast, is obviously the transfer ban situation. And since then, since we recorded that and uploaded that, what came out by Matt Law is that apparently Chelsea kind of feel forced to take the transfer ban because apparently they're worried that if they try to get it frozen by the CAS, by the Court of Arbitration for Sport, that might lead to us being banned for 3 windows rather than 2 windows. I don't know why that would be the case. That has never been the case for any other clubs. I didn't really find out why that would happen to us, but apparently the club is slightly worried about that. Do I fully believe that? I'm not 100% sure. It feels like just a thing Just tell Matt Law that, and then he will post it, and then the fans will believe that, then no one will be angry at us for not freezing the ban. Because some fans are happy with it, including myself, that we take it now, and some others, they're fuming about it and just say we have to sign someone now. So to just calm down those people, maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe it's true as well. I have no idea, but it would, I don't really understand it, in all honesty. Maybe we'll find out more, about this over the next couple of days, but as for now, this is all that I know anyway. Maybe I've just missed something that could happen. Going to the next topic, which is a good topic to talk about. Some good news, because it is reported that Hudson-Odoi now looks increasingly likely and very likely to be, just continuing his stay at Chelsea and actually be signing a new 5-year deal at the club, for good money. Now, obviously, he's an English international. He's not a youth player anymore. He's a kind of a regular starter before he picked up his injury. So, he's going to be earning good money, obviously, as he deserves to do so. And yeah, I mean, that would be great. Of course, reports from Germany, journalists from Germany said this isn't necessarily true. He hasn't fully committed on Chelsea just yet and hasn't fully decided. Bayern Munich is still an option for him. But the whole Bayern Munich links have gone very, very quiet. Considering, I mean, the window is about to reopen again, and Real Madrid have signed already players for 160 million euros or pounds, or whichever currency they used when they, spoke about that. It's possible to do things already. I know he's injured, but still, it seems very quiet. So I do kind of believe in that. I do think that Hudson-Odoi will stay. Of course, Hazard leaving will make him more likely to play. I know we signed Pulisic, but he probably backs himself to be better than Pulisic, I guess. And obviously better than Willian and Pedro as well. I mean, we do know that already, guys, basically. Not that much better just yet, but obviously with age and potential and stuff. So that obviously be great. I mean, I do hope that he signs a new contract. You all know, if you watch this channel for long enough and if you watch him in 100% Chelsea, that I was never best pleased with him handing in the transfer request just a couple of days before the end of the January transfer window. And I just don't like that. I don't appreciate transfer requests. I just, he's been here for 10 years. You don't be doing that. Come on, mate. Like, I just don't appreciate that kind of behaviour. It's just not my thing. It's just not what I like for my club. I only want players at my club that actually want to be here. Whether they're from the academy or whether we signed them when they were 23 or 25. I only want them here if they want to be here. It doesn't matter where they came from. And, if he signs a new contract, that to me says he wants to be here. And then I can love him again, which is great. Because I was always a little bit on the fence about it. Because we all want the academy players to do well. He's a very good player. He's a very good prospect. But that just annoyed me. Still like Ruben Loftus-Cheek better though. Coming to the next story I do want to talk about, and that is about Willian. And that is news that I literally woke up to today. That is the latest notification I had on my phone this morning when I woke up. And it said, Chelsea are looking like, extending Willian's contract at the club by 2 years. And first thought was like, but why the hell are we doing that? Of course, thinking about it, it does make sense. Especially if we do, accept the ban right now. We do have to make him stay. We do have to make him and Pedro stay. There's no real other ways about it. We don't really have that many, in my opinion anyway, really promising young wingers in the academy that could, slot into the first team right now, in my opinion anyway, like I said twice now. So we kind of have to keep him because Hazard is, Hazard is going, let's be honest now. Yes, we have Pulisic coming in instead of him, but if you look at the situation that we had over the last couple of weeks this season, we only had 3 wingers as soon as Hudson-Odoi was injured. So we couldn't even rotate both positions for every game, alternate games when we had a midweek game and a weekend game. We couldn't even do that. So we need wingers. We need to keep Willian and Pedro. And obviously he is now entering the last year of his contract. So extending that would be good because even when our transfer ban is over, we can then still sell him for a little bit of money. Yes, not 60 or 70 million like Barcelona reportedly offered us, over the last 12 months. But it would still be, 20, 30 million or something like that next summer or, at some point later on in, in the next few years, I guess. So extending his contract is not actually as bad as it might sound to all of us because just growing a little bit frustrated with him, with Pedro, and just not playing Hudson-Odoi a few months ago, although it kind of did make sense. I've spoken about that plenty of times as well. But yeah, I guess in the end it does make sense. Kind of the biggest story of the day, in my opinion anyway, is that interview that was released, between a Spanish journalist and Alvaro Morata. That was a big interview because Morata shed a lot of light on the situation at Chelsea, and he just basically told that he was really frustrated. People loved him at the start. We made a song about him with Chelsea fans. He couldn't even go out in London because, it would be approached by so many people, basically. And then he had this injury, he tried to keep playing. We all know this story. I'm not going to run through it in detail again. Basically tried to keep playing because he wanted to repay the faith they showed in him buying him. And, the performance level just dropped, and then the fans started hating on him. The club started hating on him. He missed out on the World Cup, which was actually why he joined Chelsea, because he really wanted to make sure that he, would play in the World Cup. So he wanted to be a starting striker somewhere, which he wouldn't have been at Real Madrid. So that's why he joined us, and he missed out on that, which of course, psychologically must be difficult. And, then he also spoke about, as time went on, even teammates, he felt like, or he knew, it was just obvious that they weren't passing to him anymore properly. And then he also said, well, if you know your teammates aren't going to pass to you properly or at all, then you're not going to pass to them the same way either. So that obviously made it even worse. He also said that Sarri didn't maybe tell him full truths about things when he spoke to him, obviously when he was still here earlier this season, I guess, at the start of the 18-19 season anyway, when things just weren't going right. And he just, he said as soon as he joined Atletico Madrid, he felt everyone was confident in him and everyone showed trust. And it just wasn't there at Chelsea. He said the only people that were still with him, he said, kind of were the English player, the Spanish player, sorry, even though he seems to be great friends with Ross Barkley, but I guess he didn't want to single him out, even in a positive way. He only said the Spanish players trusted him and were with him, but the others, they didn't really trust him anymore. And yes, we can understand that, but it's still a sad thing. I'm not going to criticize these other players. How can you not trust a player? You all know that I had a little bit of a soft spot for Morata. He felt like another Torres to me, which you can see in a bad way. But Torres was one of my favourite players at the time. Obviously Spain won the Euros in Austria. They played in my town, all of their group games. So it was just, so that's kind of how I got into Torres, I guess. Nothing to do with Liverpool or anything. So I always liked Torres. He was a bit like Torres in that sense. So I do have a soft spot for him. So it does feel a bit bad, it does sound a bit bad, but at the end of the day, it's just what it was. If you don't score, mate, and you missed way too many sitters, eventually your teammates are going to lose trust in you, and eventually players like Willian, especially players like Hazard, they're going to try to go for goal themselves rather than giving you the ball. And I know that way, it's even more difficult for you to get over not scoring, but that's just what it is. That's just football. That's the business. And it is still depressing because he did kind of lash out and he did kind of bash, players. He did kind of bash the club and the fans, which he shouldn't do, in my opinion, the fans especially. But I do understand where he's coming from. In his position, you're like, I'm just injured. I can't help it. And people didn't believe that he was injured. People, didn't care that he was injured. People just bashed him. And, I do agree. A lot of the, criticism and abuse that Morata received was out of order, in my opinion, by a lot of people. That included people I worked with. That included, people that I didn't work with, or just random people on Twitter or in the stadium. I just don't agree with that. I just don't like doing that to any player. And don't come at me telling me that I do it for Ross Barkley and Kovacic. Okay, maybe I kind of slate them in videos sometimes, but I would never ever slate any of them in the stadium. Never. But yeah, so that is that Morata situation. A bit of a tricky one, but it is big. And obviously, we do have the option to recall him if we wanted to. He made that clear. But he has basically begged Atletico to sign him permanently. And basically, both clubs know that he doesn't want to come back to Chelsea. He wants to be at Atletico. And he said be there. And yeah, what can I say? Good luck to him, I guess. It wasn't meant to be a Chelsea. And the last thing I do want to speak about is obviously the whole Petr Cech situation. A couple of weeks ago, I guess, even before the Europa League final, there's reports came out at the time by, I think, Sky Sports, so very reliable sources. The Petr Cech would be taking over at Chelsea as the new director of football, as the new, technical director or sporting director, which are several words or phrases that were used for his position, which basically all mean the same thing, I guess. But that was spoken about today again. I'm basically saying that we are pretty close, or at least going to finalise that position for him and that deal with him pretty damn soon. Of course, his contract at Arsenal runs until the end of June. That's just how long football contracts tend to run, just in case, whatever. How long some seasons sometimes go with post-season friendlies and that kind of thing. So that's how long he's contracted there. But at the end of the day, he's going to join Chelsea, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I've said it before, I'm not sure about his credentials in that position, but especially if you have a transfer ban anyway, he kind of has a full year to kind of get used to that role, get to know people, get to kind of know what he's doing, and kind of just be that link between the board, between Marina Granovskaya and the manager. Whoever the manager will be, whether it will be Maurizio Sarri, which I very much doubt, or Frank Lampard, which, is better than anyone else, but still not as good as Sarri, in my opinion, right now. Or anyone else, which I don't want to happen. But yeah, that should obviously be good. I think that would help our situation at the club. And, Cech would basically be taking over a lot of the jobs or a lot of the responsibilities that Michael Emenalo had at the club before he resigned in October or November of 2017, who we haven't replaced since then, which is obviously not great. But yeah, guys, this is it from me. This has been it from me. Whatever the English terms is, the English grammar, whatever, I'm off my head now. I don't know if this video might actually be a little bit shorter than the recent ones. I'm not sure. I have to do a little bit of editing on this. So we will have to wait and see. I hope it is a little bit shorter because it's kind of what I'm aiming for. But thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it if you did watch up until the end. That was great. you know, like I said at the beginning, if you are new here, please do subscribe. That would be massively appreciated. If you, do enjoy my content, if you did enjoy this video, please drop a like. That would be also greatly appreciated. Leave me all of your thoughts on everything that I spoke about then in the comment section below. Of course, the Morata situation, Hudson-Odoi possibly signing a new contract. Petr Cech. And not that I missed something down here with my notes. Willian, obviously the whole Sarri, Lampard, Hazard situation. Leave me your thoughts on all of that as well. The transfer ban. And like I said again, please do subscribe to the Attacking 2 podcast YouTube channel. Also follow us on iTunes and Spotify and all of that. And follow them on Twitter. The link to the Twitter will be in the description as well to the, I guess, podcast Twitter. Even though we only really post links on there. But follow it anyway. That would be great. But yeah, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you guys for watching. Up the Chelsea. Not sure when I'm going to make another video again. It's really busy these days, so that's why it took me over a week to make another video since the last one. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Just said that already, doesn't matter. Up to Chelsea, and I'll see you when I see you.